I don't know about you guys. I'm feeling 22.
Pretty good.
Ooh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's
I
me.
reject that. I reject that. Whatever that was,
I knew
reject
you were in
it.
trouble when I walked in.
I reject.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Stay on target.
You can't handle the truth.
Stay on target.
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
With great power comes great responsibility.
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, hello. Welcome to the show. We're back again.
Guess who's back?
Back at it again with them
Back
white
again.
fans.
Back again.
Popsy's back. Popsy's back.
Yeah.
Tell a friend.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I think we're all doing 3 different songs.
Yeah.
I'm doing Shady's back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I was not doing it because
I
don't know exactly how that song goes.
I'm just
That's
here
fair.
for a good time.
My name's Connor, and I like to party.
My name's Jacob, and I also like to party.
Number 1, I know for a fact that neither of you like to party. Number 2, I'm Jordan Summers, and Avril Lavigne is better than Taylor Swift. There, I said it.
Jordan literally just ran out of the room. He threw down his headphones and stormed off. I think some Swifties have a word to say with you, Jordan.
Jordan, come back.
Jordan, come back. We love you and all your brokenness.
Do-do-do-do-do. You can blame it all on me.
Just because you're wrong doesn't mean we're going to kick you out of the podcast.
But you might get canceled.
That's what.
That's right. The Swifties will be after you.
Man,
Well, again,
They
welcome
will find
to
let
you.
them come.
welcome to this. I don't know what to call us. I guess I'll go by our title, Pop CR, Pop Culture Redemption. Welcome to Pop Culture Redemption. I was trying to think of a clever way to say a bunch
Yeah, you
of guys
used to
that are
say them.
hooligans.
Like,
we're a bunch of hooligans.
We're
How about that?
clowns.
You used to save them all the time. Like we're one nursery rhyme away from 3 blind
I
mice.
got to get back to that. I always forget until the episode starts, and I'm like, I didn't come up with something to say.
Well, clearly,
Wow.
we are the last clown in a clown car.
That's
And that clown car is my Toyota Prius. So officially, welcome to Pop Culture Redemption. It is good to be with you again. Today is our part 2 of our Taylor Swift coverage because culture just isn't talking about Taylor Swift enough. So
not at all.
we felt like we needed to supplement the
Isn't
lack
the
of
whole
conversation.
point of our podcast to kind of hop on that bandwagon, though?
It is. Yes. 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 It is.
But
That's
can it be a bandwagon if it's only an artist? Is it
Yeah,
an
you're
artist
right, you're
wagon?
right. It's an artist wagon. It's a solo artist wagon.
Paddy wagon?
all right. So
Hop
again,
in, Patrick.
I think I have a good title for this episode. It's the episode where Jordan breaks us
Jordan
for an
breaks-
hour.
Jordan runs off again. He likes to do that. It's like the 3rd time that you've yeeted yourself out of the camera. You're like, say something and then poof, he's gone. You're like, where'd
What
he
was
go?
the 3rd time?
He's back.
This is the 2nd time. The first
All
one
right,
was the
second
Haunted
time.
Mansion episode,
You can go
which
back
is a
and
great
look
episode.
for the
You
3rd
should
time.
yeah.
How about that? Again, welcome wherever you're engaging with us on the old technology.
We
We're glad
accept
you're
we
doing
will
it.
get married.
All that technology.
Technology.
Okay, I had
Good to.
Jordan. We're trying to focus.
It's getting late, people. We're recording this at like 9 p.m. You're getting us a little silly right now. We also have a YouTube channel. You've heard about it probably by now, Pop Culture Redemption. You can find us there. You can engage with a lot of our content on there as well. You can always contact us at admin@popcr.org. You can email us. And we're thinking about, what are some different ways we can just connect with you all on social media platforms. So we've got an ongoing finger gun, ongoing poll on Spotify about where are some different ways that you want to connect with the show on social media platforms. So if you can fill that out and let us know where it's best to connect with you and where we can start to build that community, that six seasons in a movie,
6 seasons in a movie.
pop community.
Pop.
That would be really helpful for us, just as we want to have a space where we can all engage with this together and we can have conversations about God and culture together, not just us on microphones kind of talking at you, but where we can talk with one another.
Let me play guitar at you.
That's right. Yeah.
Are people who listen to this Pop Culture Redemption podcast pop stars?
Ooh.
Or are they Pop Tarts?
Oh.
No, we might get sued for that.
All
I'm
right.
going to stick with pop stars.
That's going on the poll. Congratulations. You just created a poll, Jacob. Great work. You can vote. Would you rather be called the Pop Community, Pop Tarts, or Pop Stars?
Maybe
or if you have another idea, let us know.
We'll make t-shirts.
We say that every show. We got like 100 t-shirts coming out pretty soon. So we just keep telling everyone we got new t-shirts coming out.
Maybe we should also be like for any who have engaged with Sweetwater, when you buy something from Sweetwater, it comes with like a little baggie of candy. Maybe we should just put a bag of popcorn in with every
there you go.
with every order.
You said bag, and I thought you were going to say a bag of pop, like a bag of soda.
No, because it's not pop, it's soda.
Unless
I will fight you on this.
It's Coke.
it's
okay. It's Coke.
What is this, Texas?
That's
That's going to be another poll we put on this podcast.
Is it pop?
It
is it
is.
soda? Is it soda pop? Is it Coke? Or is it?
I was going to say soda pop.
Oh, you're going to say soda pop.
Yeah. Actually, it's fountain beverage.
Ew.
Wow. Nailed it.
I'm the guy when people say, is it pronounced GIF or pronounced GIF? I'm like, it's pronounced .gif.
You're no
it's
fun.
GIF.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's GIF.
George has always got to find the third way. That's what he does.
The way, the truth, the life,
and I
Believe you are.
the
Nice.
way.
Please sponsor.
Yahweh. Yah truth. What? That doesn't quite work. Okay. So we're starting off our part 2 of our Taylor Swift coverage today. We're going to dive into the Eras tour, the movie itself specifically. And so the movie, again, covers the actual concert. So we're going to look at our normal format for that. But before we get into that, Jordan's going to take us through, not Uncultured Swine.
No, it's Uncultured Swine.
It
but
is
it's
Uncultured Swine.
taking us down.
What are you calling
route.
it, Jordan? Take it away.
Well, okay, so this is a youth group game that has existed for a while.
Here we go.
It is Taylor Swift or Lamentations.
But is the loser of this still considered the Uncultured Swine? Or are they the Uncultured Swiftie?
Or are they
The unswifted Taylor? No.
Or are they biblically illiterate?
The biblically illiterate swine.
Illiterate swine. I like that. Let's call it.
The biblically illiterate swine.
Gonna be harsh, man. This is for all the marbles today. Oh my goodness.
Biblically illiterate
I mean,
snake.
I already have a leg up because you're a worship director, but I'm a worship pastor.
That's right. You're right. I don't know what to tell you. Pastoring people isn't my job description, but I am a worship director. Worship arts director. So I've got arts in my title.
Ah, dang it, I don't.
Makes me sound like, never mind. Keep it moving.
I'm just a man whose circumstances went beyond his control. Dang it, I should have used that as an opener.
Nope.
Nope, it's
You
right here.
nailed it.
All right,
You nailed
take us
it.
into the game, my dude.
Okay. So this has a timer on it.
Excellent.
Oh no, this is not going to be good.
So we got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Are
do
you
it.
ready? Here we go.
Speed round.
I remember it all. Oh, how well I remember the feeling of hitting the bottom.
Lamentations. Nope. Taylor Swift.
Just let him. Can he go first? And then
Yeah.
I'll answer the next one.
Yeah.
Was that green?
That was no, it was not.
Lamentations.
Lamentations. Next.
Uh-huh.
Walls of insecurity, shifting eyes, and vacancy vanished when I saw your face.
Taylor Swift.
That's correct.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to be the biblically
1
illiterate
point.
swine.
That's what I'm talking about.
Have you ever seen anything like this? Ever seen pain like my pain? Seen what he did to me?
Lamentations. Nope.
I think I actually have to get to the end of the quiz before I get the answers.
No.
We've been to hell and back. We've nowhere to turn, nowhere to go. Rivers of tears pour from my eyes. This is on
Taylor
you, Connor.
Swift.
I feel like that's an easy one.
Oh no, I don't. So the truth is, I only have to pick one and it'll show me. So that one was The Message.
Oh, that's an option. I didn't know the message was an option.
No, that's the
So
that's
it's
the translation.
Lamentations.
That's,
Oh no, it's the.
it's
We said T
Lamentations.
Swift, but it's Lamentations.
Yeah. So
Why'd you say the message?
Because it's
was
the,
the
message translation
of
That's the game.
Of the
It's the
Bible.
message translate. Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm
that
tracking
just makes
more.
it so much harder.
So I have 1 point. Okay, and you have none. Ugh. I just wanna
Long were
highlight
the
that.
nights.
I have 1 point. Jacob has none.
All right, Jake. Long were the nights when my days once revolved around you.
T Swift.
That was T Swift.
Yes.
Connor.
Okay.
These walls that they put up to hold us back will fall down. The time will come for us to finally win. And we'll sing hallelujah. We'll sing hallelujah.
I mean, come on. Lamentations.
Come on, son.
Taylor Swift.
No! Yes! No!
Jake, I gave up on life altogether. I've forgotten what the good life is like.
It's Lamentations, bruh.
That is Lamentations.
2 points.
Time turns flames to embers.
That's it?
Yeah,
Oh, Swift.
that is Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I got 2 points.
Dang
We're
it.
tied.
No.
Like shadows in a faded light. Oh, we're invisible.
Lamentations.
Taylor Swift.
Dang it.
See the vultures circling dark clouds. Love's a fragile little flame. It could burn out.
Lamentations.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah!
It rhymed, dude.
It rains when you're here, and it rains when you're gone.
Shoot. T Swift.
That was Taylor Swift.
3 points.
You'll find out what it's like to ... get drunk ... and wake up with nothing.
Lamentations.
Oh, we're out of time.
But
We
was
can
it?
just restart it, right?
Yeah. I weep buckets of tears, and not a soul within mile around cares.
That's me?
Yep.
We read again, sorry.
I weep buckets of tears, and not a soul within miles around cares.
Lamentations.
Lamentations.
Dang it.
Yes. Tied.
Did you have to do this? I was thinking that you could be trusted.
Ooh. Lamentations.
Taylor Swift.
Dang it. No.
Like shadows in a faded light. Oh, we're invisible. Did we do that one already?
I think that was the one that we got.
Where I stopped.
Yeah.
Sorry, we say that one again, Jordan.
Like shadows in a faded light. Oh, we're invisible.
I feel like it comes down to this. It's the last question.
Get it wrong, get it wrong, get it wrong.
Taylor Swift.
Get it wrong, get it wrong, get it wrong.
That was Taylor Swift.
Yes! No! Yes! No!
Is that it?
That was the last question.
Yes!
No!
Aha!
My long reign is over! I'm still the king.
Welcome, Jacob. It's been 10 episodes for you to get here. And on lucky number 11,
I'm so mad.
here you are.
The biblically illiterate swine.
Higher stakes than ever.
No!
That was really good. I can see why that's a fun youth group game. Yeah. I had never played that before.
There's also another one that's like
I didn't know that
just,
was
it's either from Song of Solomon's or it's like something that's a crazy Justin Bieber fan wrote to him.
Yeah.
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
You know how I found out about that?
How?
Caitlin Chess's interview or
there you
her
go.
thing with Sky
Oh.
about getting schooled by Caitlin Chess.
I found that out by living through that experience in youth group in high school. And I did just as poorly as I just did now.
That got a lot more difficult. I felt super confident for the first two answers. I didn't realize it was the message version of Lamentations. Though it was just like straight up like NIV, ESV, NLT, whatever.
KJV.
And
Then the
yeah,
kid
that would have
goes-
been really obvious, right? And then I was like, and I got the first one right, I think, maybe, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna nail this. And then you're like, it's the message version. And I was like, oh no,
Oh, no.
all my
I'm in danger.
all my strong convictions about me knowing what verse this is are out the window. So that was really fun, though. I mean, I really enjoyed that because I didn't lose.
Because you won and
I
finally ended my reign.
That's the first time I've played this game where I've been a contestant on that, and I didn't lose. Before
first-
that, every time I've played, I've lost.
Wow.
So,
This is the first time I've lost. And you know what? I'll probably never win again now.
thank you.
My confidence is shattered.
All right. Wah, wah, wah.
Confidence is shattered. You've reached disaster. Never know what matters. Lyrics I'm going to plaster.
Yeah.
Are you? Is
I'm
this
literally
off the
just,
cuff?
this is off the cuff.
Dang, man. Drop them bars.
I've got nothing else. I was just kind of going.
Hey, wait,
Arms are heavy.
wait. What happens when a DJ comes to Jesus? He gets the Holy Spirit.
I thought you were going to say he gets his record scratched.
Nope.
pretty good too. All right, so we're going into specifically the movie. So last week we went and watched, or 2 weeks ago, we went and watched the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie in theater. We paid $19.89 per ticket because Taylor Swift can charge what she wants because she's Taylor Swift. Adult tickets are $19.89, and kid tickets are $13.13. So
I
that's a
identify
callback
as 13
to
years old.
1989, year she was born, and one of her albums, and 1313, and it's her favorite number is 13. So keep that in mind. So talking about the Eras Tour,
She even got to pick the price specifically down to the cent.
Hey, she's Taylor Swift.
Are you kidding me?
That's what happens. So we paid.
Ain't nobody paid exactly
with taxes.
19.
We paid over $20 to go see a movie.
Yeah.
So in some places of the country that's normal, but here in Central Kansas, that's pricey.
Very not.
That's pricey. So the Eras Tour is an ongoing concert tour right now. She's in the middle of a break. I think she's starting the international part of her tour coming up pretty soon. If she hasn't started already by the time this podcast airs. It is the 6th concert tour by Taylor Swift. Again, it's described as a journey through all of her musical, quote-unquote, eras. So as homage to all her albums, the Eras Tour is her most expansive tour yet. I'm pulling this off of Wikipedia, by the way. With 149 dates across 5 continents. So this is a massive ordeal. It is the highest grossing tour ever by a woman and the second highest grossing overall as of August 2023. And they estimate that she's going to shatter that record and become the highest grossing overall by the time this tour is all said and done. The show itself, not the movie, the show itself spans over 3.5 hours. I believe the movie was about 2.5 hours. So the show itself with a set list of 44 songs.
And in spirit of that, this episode will also span 3 hours.
That's right. So buckle up, people.
Goodness, I don't think I can talk about T Swift for that long.
Get the marathon going. Here we go. Over 10 distinct acts, 44 songs over 10 acts that portray the albums conceptually. And as part of each one of her tours, she would have unique songs within the set list itself. So like every tour location had unique songs that she would perform. You know,
From
like in the
those
movie
albums.
they had where she just played piano and sang or played guitar and sang. Mm-hmm. Each location or each night would be a different, she would pick a different couple of songs to do. So every show was unique. So that was kind of part of the hype about it was if you went to multiple shows, you got a different experience. Kind of like how last episode we talked about her different LPs have different colors. And some, you know, like that. The record will have more songs on it or different songs than the Spotify set list will have, than the CD will have.
The Midnight's 3 a.m. edition, which was different than the Midnight's edition.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's her just giving fans something new every time.
But also just being a marketing genius.
Yes. So this tour has charged an astronomical amount for tickets, and pretty much every show I think was sold out. The tour pushed Taylor Swift's net worth over $1 billion with a B billion dollars, making her the first ever billionaire with music as the main income. So that's nuts. Again, for the movie itself,
We
the one
talking
we went to,
cashews or almonds?
all of it. It's a mix. It's the whole thing. Cashews,
If it's gonna
almonds,
be a mix, can there at
walnuts, peanuts.
If there's a mix, can
Pistachios.
Can there be M&Ms too?
Yes,
I think she can
Absolutely.
afford the one with M&Ms.
absolutely. The movie itself. So now we're talking about the movie. Movie itself has grossed more than $200 million worldwide already, and it released a month ago, October 13th. 13. There it is again.
Of
Number
course.
13. Lucky number 13. And currently sits at, on the 2023 grossing number. Take a guess what number it is.
5.
Come on.
4.
Come on. What's her lucky number?
13.
It's 13 right now.
Are you
on the box
are you
office
kidding
list?
me?
I'm serious. When I looked at it
What?
today,
That was
it
planned.
is number
It was rigged.
It is number 13.
System's rigged, man.
So, by the time you listen to this, it will probably be higher than 13th. But as of recording right now, it is number 13.
But also,
Can
maybe
you
as
take
proper T
me
Swift fans, we should be doing everything we can to keep it at number 13.
By never watching it again
Yeah,
and telling
that's what
you
you're
to
saying.
not watch it.
Boycott this movie for Taylor Swift.
Unless it goes to spot 14, in which case then you need to go watch it.
then you go see
Yeah.
it again. Or if you go see it, you have to watch the 12 movies in front of it as well.
And I believe I'll
No,
see you singing
I'm
again.
endorsing you going to see this. So it's a
It's
cool.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it's awesome. Okay, so that's the movie facts, the tour facts, the movie facts. That's all of it. So we're diving into our
What
normal.
about the Carfax?
No Carfax here. No Carfax. So I tried to think of something quippy to say, and I got nothing.
It's because it's coming through a fax machine, so and you got
You're
dial
right. You're right.
up. That's not the right sound. It's more like.
Get off the phone. I need to use the internet.
You're just jealous because I'm chatting with babes.
You're just jealous because I've been chatting online with babes all day.
That's a callback to our Napoleon Dynamite episode. If you haven't
Go
listened
watch
to
it.
it, go listen to it. Okay. Our normal episode format, Rejoice, Reject, Redeem. We're looking specifically at the content of the movie. So the content of the tour itself. Last episode, we talked about kind of the bigger, larger picture cultural impact that Taylor Swift has on culture and how to engage with that. This time, we're analyzing the specifics of the concert, diving into the song selection and lyrics and all of the stuff that comes with the movie that we got to watch a couple weeks ago. So who wants to start us off with a Rejoice?
As a worship leader and somebody who is involved in the tech of my service, I feel like I experienced Jesus by watching every detail of the screen, the floor, the rising platforms, the camera on the screen. Like, now I have a new thing to beg my senior pastor for. We already have the LED wall. Now we need the LED floor.
There you go.
But just creative wise,
Yeah.
with all of the elements combined. Like, I know that the movie probably cut some time transitions with costume changes and whatnot. But Jordan, you okay over there?
I'm fine.
I'm great.
I'm hugging
Sorry.
myself.
Okay. But like, geez. No, just every detail was so meticulously like well put together, and just even like I loved the interaction of the camera on the screen, because I imagine being somebody like it could have been also maybe not as helpful, but like being somebody in the arena, seeing her up on the big screen, but seeing that it's integrated into the design of what's going on. That's just next level. I feel like I experienced the Holy Spirit by watching all the technical
There you go.
aspects of this show.
Right on. Yeah, I Rejoice her. I think after the third song, she's kind of talking to the congregation. Dang it, Jake, you got me. Unbelievable. To the audience, excuse me. That
was her congregation. Let's be honest.
There you go. She said, "My dream is when you hear my songs tonight, you'll think about tonight and the memories we make together." And I thought that was really cool. Just thinking about the experience of being there in person, or I mean, we were watching the movie, but it was live recorded. I think it was in LA at SoFi Stadium. Yep. And just the amount of detail that went into the experience of every single person in the audience at those where there's like tens of thousands of people.
And even on like just watching the movie.
Yeah. And just the detail of, they had the lights on the wrist thing, and that they were kind of cueing a whole bunch of different lighting effects throughout the audience, and just the different call outs that she was doing and the way that she was engaging with the audience, I think was really not only masterful, but it was like the focus on the experience for the audience, as opposed to, here, I'm showing you all of my songs, type of deal. And like, you listen and you take it in. It was kind of like, all right, how can we have a cool experience together? And I think the best performers and the best artists do that in a really unique way. And I felt like the way that she did it was really cool. And it really came back to, I felt like that was kind of her vision for it, or the whole vision of the entire performance and her tour was, again, that when you hear these songs just on your on your iPhone, you're listening to Spotify or on the radio or whatever, that you'll think about the experience that you had tonight and the joy that you got to share in tonight. And I just was like, that's really cool. So and I thought they did a good job of that.
Did you just assume what phone everybody has?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Superior.
How intolerant.
Yep. Welcome to the dark side. All right, Jordan. Rejoice.
Yes. I Rejoice. Honestly, kind of similar to what both of you are talking about a little bit here. I Rejoice the reality that there are still people who are intentionally trying to create great music and art, that excellence is still celebrated. I'm an extremely critical musician and music listener and enjoyer.
I've never noticed that about you.
Really?
Ever.
Then I need to be more critical then.
Yeah.
I can do that. I'll stop pulling my punches.
Can't wait for the reject segment.
That just oh, my brain just went to like, oh shoot, neither of you guys have seen that 70s show. No, you have.
Yes, I have.
When Red catches Hyde with the stash, and so he keeps saying the entire episode like, I'm not playing anymore, the kid gloves are off, and he just keeps and like, what they weren't before.
Yep. Okay, but I can be really, really, really critical, and it's because I'm frustrated. Like I grew up listening to classic rock, which I mentioned on the last episode, so I have like a very like rock and roll informed musical taste, and I also went to college to be trained, as a contemporary musician, so I have
Just a couple opinions.
well, yeah, I have just a couple opinions, but it's really frustrating to me because there's a lot of times I'm listening to, pop music and what's really popular. And this is both in the Christian world or, in Christian pop culture and in non-Christian contemporary pop culture. I notice a lack of, it's not even a lack of originality. It's just a lack of trying. Like, I don't see people trying to write awesome, great music. Like, where are the modern Stairway to Heavens? Where's the modern Bohemian Rhapsody? Like, where are like songs that are like it's hard, like Sweet Child of Mine, Dream On by Aerosmith. Like, there's so many songs that I can just like think of this like people just generally kind of know these songs. Welcome to the Jungle. Like people know these songs because they're well crafted pieces of music. And like, yeah, I'm, way more well versed in classic rock than, maybe your average music listener in like our generation. But even so, I've heard kids, I've heard teens, I've heard young adults. I've heard people like right around where the heck our age group is.
Zillennials actually is our
there we go
our generational name.
But I've heard all these different. I've heard all of them talk. They know at least one really big, really popular classic rock song.
And it's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, it might be, or it's Journey, or it's
Don't Stop Believin'.
Don't Stop Believin'. And it's just, not to say that rock is like the best genre or everything or anything like that. I think there's a lot of really great. I mean, like I thoroughly enjoy NF. I think he's fantastic lyricist, and his producer is a great music producer. And I loved watching all of Taylor Swift's performance and hearing all the songs, because this is somebody who number one, she's great at all of it. She's great at the songwriting, she's great at the performance, she's great at the endurance of the performance.
Holy cow, yeah, singing like that for 3 hours
plus, because we saw like,
dude, I walk away sweating after an hour service.
Yeah.
And I'm playing 3 songs.
And she can record her own music, and she like it's just great that one, she's just so talented at all of that, but also that people still actually want that and crave that and enjoy that. That's super encouraging to me, because I feel like the arts are in a lot of ways have been suffering for a while. A lot of it's due to consumerism. I already had my consumerism.
We're talking about you, Hallmark movies.
That's
if you disagree with Jacob, you can email him at admin@popcr.org.
It's okay. I'm already getting a very strongly worded email from my wife.
Don't worry. Connor and I have already had conversations about my Hallmark is a thing. We'll talk about Hallmark in a different episode. Anyway,
don't worry. Christmas episodes are coming.
Yeah,
in the
Christmas
future.
is, guys.
But that's not today.
Connor, Christmas is coming.
Yeah, since like Easter was done.
Yeah.
Anyways,
anyway, all that's fine. all that to say, I'm just glad that there's still great art being made and being celebrated and enjoyed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, in beauty, right? Not just like, physical beauty or whatever, but beautiful art.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's move into the reject. Obviously, there's a ton of things that we could continue to rejoice. And, part of the last episode, we celebrated a lot of things about Taylor Swift as well. But let's go into some of the things that we reject as part of this concert, this experience, seeing this played out for us on the big screen.
Can I reject a 3.5 hour movie?
Sure. It was 2.5 hours. It was 2.5 hours, but yeah.
It did not feel that way. Like, it was great. I felt like it was captivating the entire time, but like we got to the Midnight's era, and since we're sitting in a theater, I just wanted to go home. Then we got to the credits that we were watching this. And because which one of you two looked it up to see if there was a post-credit scene? Because I just made like a half joke. It was Jordan. Jordan looked up to see, because I just made a joke like a Marvel movie, like, oh, we should wait for the post-credit scene. And Jordan looked it up and he's like, oh, there is. It's a friendship bracelet message. And like the entire time of the credits, I was standing up and walking around because I was just so done of sitting there for that long.
Every single Lord of the Rings fan listening right now is like,
No. Okay. That's different. Lord of the Rings is incredible. I finally got engaged with it this year. Finally watched it all the way through for the first time.
Congratulations!
And I was
When's the wedding?
I hate you. And I was like, dude, okay, I need I've now watched all of the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. I love it. It's great. But to sit in a there's a difference between being at a concert and watching it on a screen.
Yeah.
That's just a layer that no matter how well done it is, sorry Taylor, but I could not sit through it.
Gotcha.
That's fair. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I understand where you're coming from.
I was restless when we were waiting through the credits, which you get done with a Taylor Swift concert, and guess what the post-credit music is?
Bob Dylan.
Yeah. It's Bob Dylan.
It all comes back to Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan covering Taylor Swift. Could you imagine that? I don't know about you, guy. I'm feeling 22.
Pretty good.
Ooh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Reject that. I reject that. Whatever that was.
I knew
reject
you were in
it.
trouble when I walked in.
I reject. Oh
Okay, we need to do a generative AI Bob Dylan singing Taylor Swift.
I think we got it right here. I don't know.
Somebody online, please make that.
I'm gonna look it up to see if it already. Yeah.
For me, I think the lighthearted reject would be that at one point she said, "Does anyone know the words to this bridge? Prove it." To get people to sing, And I was kind of on my phone, in that moment, and I typed that out and I said some worship leaders,
Yeah.
Maybe
Bold of you to assume that people know what a bridge is.
Yeah, does anyone know the words to this bridge? Prove it. I'm like, oh, that hurt me a little bit inside because in my past I may have said something similar as a worship leader, and I think this is a rejection for worship leaders, not for her concert, because she's totally fine to say that. I think for worship leaders though, and praise, and when you're praising and these kinds of things, be aware of what you are saying and why you're saying it. So Bob Coughlin, this is the first time I'm going to promo this book, In Worship Matters.
Whoa.
Great book, by the way.
Is it by John Mark Comer?
No, it's by Bob Coughlin.
And I don't care.
I know you don't. Oh! It's by Bob Coughlin.
You know, it's funny. You know, John Mark Comer didn't write the Bible.
Just got real up in here.
Spicy.
Anyways, in Worship Matters, Bob Coughlin just encourages worship leaders, praise leaders, to direct people's attention to God and the gospel. So worship, if you caught yourself kind of saying something similar, like, the words of this song, sing it. We have the best intentions, we say it, because we want people to praise God. But just to remind people that it is about praising God and not about just kind of being part of the quote unquote experience, or as if singing louder is what is actually honoring to God. I think shouting praise is honoring to God when we do it, when we want to shout praise, not just to sing louder. And so again, asking them to sing louder without the clarity of why they should be singing louder isn't helpful, I don't think, or that glorifying to God. So just
I'll say something more about that in Redeem.
Be careful, worship leaders, of saying similar things. I just heard that and I was like, I've definitely said something similar sentiment wise when I'm leading praise, and I think leading praise is much different.
Wait, leading praise in general or leading the song praise?
Both.
Let everything
Hold
that
up.
has been.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Let everything.
Let everything.
That is breath. Praise the Lord.
Look it down. Look it down.
Praise the Lord.
Hold on. I have a completely
Left lane.
left lane. Not even left lane. This is like left planet. This is
we're on,
so
we're
far
on the
out there.
interstate, and you're on the back roads going perpendicular to it.
Yeah. In a different dimension.
Do it. Take us there, my dude.
If Jake and I are going to the store, you would say we are blank going to the store. Word that starts with a B.
Both.
Both or both?
Both? Like
Both.
BOF?
I say both. Yeah.
Both.
Definitely.
BOLTH.
Yeah.
No,
Both.
that is incorrect.
Because you
Both.
said it a second ago, I'm like, hold up. Both?
And it's pillow.
Hold up.
Hello?
Pillow.
Oh,
Is
hello?
it pillow or pillow?
Pillow.
Pillow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it
on,
washer or
here's-
washer?
Okay, that's different.
Depends on if you're from Colorado and have all your teeth.
Or
Are you getting bug spray
Jeez.
or skeeter spray?
I have never heard Skeeter. Here's
Get
the
the
real
Skeeter
question:
spray.
is it Reese's or Reese's?
Reese's.
Reese's.
I had an ex that called it Reese's, and so I was like, is it Reese's Pieces? Reese's Feces? Anyways,
It has to be Reese's
I've heard it both
because
ways.
I've heard it both ways.
I-
the right way.
I
and there's
said
noise.
that
I've heard
today.
it both ways.
I said that today at work.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Warms my
Semantics.
heart. So my main reject here that I want to pop off on for a second is I previewed this. I previewed this in the last episode, so I gave us a little tease. This is the payoff of that. Is I think during the concert I was struck with noticing what Taylor Swift fans are celebrating and when they're celebrating and what they are accepting as good and true that are not good and true. Like there were a lot of times where there'd be a line in a song or a specific something that the music or the message of the song is pointing to, and it like pans to the audience and they're like going nuts. Like they're like, yeah, like
crying.
wow, and a couple of times it was like I was like, that's not good. Like what she just sang about, and you all are celebrating that as like, yes, that's true, and I'm like, nah. Not true.
Maybe not.
Not good. So one, just in general, I mentioned this last episode, just noticing a lot of her music, while playful, a lot of it is about revenge and getting back at people. Instead of like being focused on justice, it's more on like revenge and payback. Some of her songs, not all of her songs, but some of them, and some of them too about at least celebrating the more, I don't want to phrase this, shallow romantic experiences.
What did you just say about T Swift?
Where physical pleasure is the end goal of that connection with that person. And so I just reject that. And I think that I left a little bit concerned about specifically like, because there's a ton of like young girls in this, like teenage girls younger than that, like shown in the movie as part of the audience that are just going bonkers and like Taylor Swift is their hero and kind of all that stuff. And so I'm just kind of concerned, and I want us to be aware of those things. Specifically, there was the song that she did called The One, where there is a specific part in this movie where it's she's singing, I have this dream that you're doing cool stuff, except she didn't say stuff, having adventures on your own, and you meet some woman on the internet and take her home. And right when she said, meet some woman on the internet and take her home, it panned to like this whole section of girls, and they're just like, yeah, like, that's great. And I'm like, ah!
So if she didn't say stuff, did she say poop?
Yes. That was it. Yes.
Did she say ding dong?
Rhymes with hit. Anyways.
Fit?
Yeah, that's right.
Zip?
Fit, hit the shan. Yep. That's it.
Zip?
So I think as believers, it's important for us to recognize, not just with Taylor Swift's music, this is with all culture. This is why we do this podcast. Is for us to evaluate how we are being formed and influenced by culture and by people around us in direct ways and in indirect ways, in ways that it's really easy for us to recognize and in ways that it's not, such as like the lyrics to a catchy song. I remember in middle school, the song Low by T-Pain came out, and it was like this huge like song in our culture. And I can remember being in youth group, and he was our youth intern, I think, was like, hey, y'all recognize like what this song is saying? And he just like read us the lyrics, and I was horrified. I was like, oh, that's terrible. Like, you know, like
a chart topper.
Yeah. And it was like everybody knew the song, and people were even talking about like people just singing it like youth group and stuff. And then you just like read the lyrics, and I was like, oh, that is a bummer of a song. It's not good, right? But it was wrapped in a catchy melody, catchy song. Everybody else was singing it, so I was kind of like humming along, singing it too. And then I'm like, oh, that's what that's actually about. So just be aware. I think it's important for us to be aware of the different things that are forming us in art and music and culture, and to really critically evaluate those things for ourselves and specifically for the young people among us too. I think is who aren't able to do that for themselves in some ways, or who don't have the wisdom to see that. To be careful with what are the things that we're promoting and celebrating within culture. So that's my reject.
Yeah. I remember that happening with Anaconda.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And there's tons of songs we could name.
So many.
Yeah.
My brain went to the "Can you blow my whistle, baby?" Like that song is terrible.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Yeah.
Not talking about tractor.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, anyways. Yeah.
WAP.
Yep.
WAP.
CPR.
Yep.
3-letter words.
Yep.
Or three-letter song titles. Just avoid them.
So, yep. Jordan, do you have a reject?
I do, and it's on the same kind of subject.
All right.
This is a great segue. Okay, I reject the need for sex appeal for female artists to succeed. Okay, just get really real here for just a second. Ladies, female artists, female musicians, you don't have to appeal to whatever beauty standards or whatever like physical beauty standards and you don't have to have sex appeal to create good art.
Yep.
Taylor Swift proves that.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to get into whether or not Taylor Swift does or doesn't, but what is apparent to me in this movie is that Taylor Swift pushes back against it in her music, and she in her song, in the concert, she pushes back against that concept and a lot of other things that are demeaning to women and not helpful and beneficial to women in our culture. She pushes against them. And I think there's a lot of good in how she, in the pushing against those things, because it's wrong. It's demeaning. It's not fair. It's not right when men can, number one, people always talk and joke about how Taylor Swift, writes all this music about breaking up with this person and relationships and this and that, right? How many male musicians have had just as many or way more?
Looking at you, John Mayer.
Just like, whatever encounters, right? And relationships and breakups and everything. And we don't bat an eye at it.
Yeah. And
we, and for Taylor Swift, it's like, it's the joke, right? Like, people are joking right now about, can't wait for the Travis Kelce album. and it's like
be the best football pop album of all time.
Football pop album.
That's right.
I feel like Elvis might have something to say about that. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
Anyway, so
Knew that was coming.
Yeah. So I think it's really unhelpful and really not fair, because women are predisposed to having to write songs like that in order to make it as musicians, whereas men don't.
Can I offer one little pushback?
Go for it.
That, because It wasn't for the entire concert. It was only for a section. But so this is also part of my little reject thing here. It's more of a lament, but I do agree that there was an element of like speaking against that. But I also feel like I can't remember what the name of the era was. It was she was wearing the snake thing where it's like half her body was definitely really cold and the other half was definitely really warm. Because she was wearing sleeveless and like like her whole leg was out on one, then the other side is just like long pant leg and long like sleeve. Like that section of the concert, one to me felt like a loss of innocence because you have dancers coming in who are doing like it's definitely not traditional or even contemporary dancing. Like that nope, I would see that in an X-rated movie, like kind of moves or even clothing. And so even if just my one pushback against that is just you don't need to feed the problem to speak about the problem.
Oh yeah, and I absolutely
and I feel
agree.
like in that moment she was.
Well, and like this is more to my point because she does acknowledge the problem and she does like play into it, but like she plays into it because our culture is currently predisposed,
Forcing her, yeah.
Yeah, it's predisposed to being monetarily beneficial. Not even just monetarily beneficial. It's like you will sink and you will not swim in a lot of today's current culture as a female artist. It's a lot
Unless
more
you show
difficult.
some skin.
Yeah. So, or at least it's a lot more difficult. And I want to celebrate that Taylor Swift isn't just that she is genuinely a great artist, a great musician. And that even though, I mean, shoot, you mentioned on the last podcast how like clever she is and how shrewd she is. And it's because she has to be. Like, there's tons of male artists who are not even close to being clever or shrewd. And, there's plenty of female artists who aren't clever and shrewd and stuff, right? But she is, and she knows how to work the system. And I think that shows how messed up the system is.
Yeah.
And
the music industry is a destructive place.
yeah, can we just reject the current music industry?
Yeah. Are you?
That's my whole thing. No, you're good.
A little bit of like I'm gonna gloat a little bit here. I got to like sit down with Jason Crabb a couple weeks ago because I got the chance to open for him, which was awesome. He's an amazing musician, a genuine guy. But he was talking about the music industry and some of the stuff that happens, like that the record label doesn't help you at all. And yet they take 60% of everything, at least 60. And then the musicians have to own their own bus. If they don't have the license to drive a big bus, they have to hire their own bus driver or bus drivers. They have to pay for all their own equipment. They have to pay all of the people who set up the equipment. They have to pay for all of the merch. And the record label helps with none of this. Yet they take 60 to 70% of everything. And so, yeah, it makes sense if you're the female artist that the only way you're going to get bucks, like any sort of money outside of what the label is going to take away from you, that you need to, that you would feel like you have to feed the problem. It's just a very destructive industry right now. Mm-hmm. And it is cool to see an artist as big as Taylor Swift speak against that and win.
Yeah. So we've named some of the what to reject. So let's see if we can redeem some of that. So again, moving into redeem. So what are the things about this show, about the concert, about the movie, about the songs within the show that we can use to one kind of redeem type, obviously back to our following Jesus, our belief in Jesus as Lord, and that we can use as a bridge to engage with culture about the message of the gospel, about the goodness of God and things like that. So somebody want to start?
I can start because you were talking about a little bit like this earlier. And I wanted to keep it up because when I was watching this movie, honestly, except for the one problem that it was facing the wrong direction, it was a great worship set. And it reminded me of, I'm going to plug in a little worship book here. That's what happens when you have two worship pastors in the same podcast. How to Worship a King by Zach Neese. I've got two little quotes here. that I want to bring up. Yes, because everybody at this concert was worshiping, because everybody does. And they were being led by a well-versed worship leader. And the only problem was that they were just, worshiping the wrong person.
Yeah.
So, however, like Taylor was modeling a worship leader well, in my opinion, besides the fact that she's pointing them to herself. Because she led the audience through a journey, whether they're in person or watching online, in which you got to see the emotional struggle of her experience through the music industry. That the audience was rejoiced in the beginning of her career, was led through the fire of her battle with toxic relationships with men and with her labels, and was led through her losing her innocence in her music and falling out and then falling back in love with her music. She took the attention of the audience and directed it in the way that she wanted, which is what I think as worship leaders that we're called to do, because we're supposed to take the attention that we get from the congregation and direct it to the foot of the cross, straight to Jesus. The worship is emotional, whether it's through music, journaling, prayers, just whatever worship looks like, because worship is really just a physical representation of a heart posture of surrender. That is what we as people in worship are called to do. And there is with that too, because then you can get into the argument with what does worship look like as a congregation? What is it like? To me, it looks like that concert. Because and so that's where I wanted to bring up this point in this book, because he's talking. He basically presents an analogy or a story, and I'll try to read quickly. He said, "Let's make this personal. I have a beautiful wife. When I take her to dinner, it's because I want to spend time with her, not because I want her to be entertained by the waiter. This is a warning." And then he says, "This is a warning to waiters. If you want a tip, serve us. Don't try to entertain us." Similarly, it's not the worship leader's job to entertain. It's his job to provide good service. So allow me to offer a stronger warning. Again, my wife's beautiful. I take her to dinner so I can flirt with her, not so the waiter can flirt with her. If you flirt with my wife, you can expect worse than no tip. I may invite you back, out back, and flatten your greasy nose for you. Jesus is a jealous husband, and I've known worship leaders who thought that because they were anointed, they had the right to court the affection of the bride. Jesus will put up with that foolishness briefly, but it will invariably ends with a flat-nosed worship leader. Watch yourself. Now, the quality and order of the service is just as important as the food. People don't go out to restaurants just for nourishment. If they needed nourishment, they could just eat at home. Church services are in the same way. Naturally, we're nourished by our experiences at church, but I am nourished daily at home. Only a very immature or lazy Christian goes to church because he's starving. The restaurant is special. A church service should be special too. I don't want to pay more for worse food than I can get at home. To me, because I've wrestled with this, with the well, what do I do as a church that doesn't have that many resources? What do I do with a church that, expresses themselves in worship one way or in what I would consider to be no way? What do I do with the balance between trying to perform and trying to lead in worship? Shoot, I need to pull this back up. So we'll cut this little part out because I closed the book too soon. There's a whole section where he makes the point of saying so there's the hard balance for me for the longest time was the difference between performing and worship leading. And so he kind of ends the section. He says, a worship leader will discover that leading God's people is much more easier and more powerful when we submit to his order, because he is the God of personal journeys. Basically, if I'm not cooking for myself, it's not going to taste good when I cook for other people, is his point. So to me, we watched, when we were sitting in that theater, an amazing worship service of the wrong person. But that is what it can look like. The biggest complaint that I have against people who have an unease towards vocal or expressive worship is usually they're the loudest at the football games or they're the loudest at the concerts. You know what I mean? How can you say that worship shouldn't be expressive if you're losing your voice at the football game? We are all made to worship something. Yeah. And it shows up with how we express ourselves. Mm-hmm. And where.
Express yourself.
Your whole kitchen metaphor that you borrowed from, was it Zach?
Zach Neese.
Zach Neese. You just redeemed the Rock. You just redeemed his phrase, "Can you smell what the Rock is cooking for me?" Because now I'm like,
Oh no!
if you smell what the Rock is cooking, and the Rock is Jesus, on which we build our...
Can I keep cooking?
Keep
Can I
cooking.
take the
Yeah.
main course that Jacob just threw out there and let me
Add a side
let me
dish.
continue to season and
Oh,
add
but
a
which side dish? We talking the stuffing? We talking?
He's
We're
doing
talking,
all of them.
We're talking bologna.
Deep cut for those psych fans.
All right. Anyway, so my redeem that it literally just is going to tailor right on the back of Jacob's.
It's gonna tailor
Yep, that's right.
right on the back.
I got you. Planned it. Really threw me off in the concert when she's playing a Gibson. I was like, what's going on?
Why isn't she playing a Taylor?
And then she had that awesome Taylor guitar with the neck that was.
Oh, it was so cool.
Oh my gosh! I was like, that is a beautiful guitar.
It was just nice to see a guitar that wasn't bedazzled.
I was like, my guitar is gently weeping.
Every time I
because
see-
I'm jealous of Taylor Swift's guitar.
Every time I see like sequins and stuff like that, like in the mall or anywhere now, I'm like, Taylor Swift called. She wants her sequins back.
So, jumping on back on Jacob. So, looking
you're
at the
pretty solid. I don't
concert
think I can support
and panning, right? I rejected a lot of the panning and seeing the audience reaction to certain lines, right? And just recognizing what we're celebrating. I think that it's important for us to, as believers, to recognize just what Jacob's talking about, physical expression specifically, are their natural outpourings of our inward feelings. So, like when we're looking at the concert, right? We're watching. Even in the theater, there were people that sitting in front of us that were standing and jumping up and down and singing, and
it was like they were there.
they couldn't help but like join in because of what they were experiencing inside of them, right? Connecting with the music and having the joy of maybe someone that they really respect and they admire her music and just partaking in it. And that's a similar feeling of when we're in concerts. People are responding together outwardly to what they are experiencing inside. And the ways that we express that can be good or bad, but the actual expression itself, I don't think is bad. I think it's natural. I think like raising hands, there was singing, there was shouting, there was jumping up and down at the concert. There was even people crying because they were so emotionally moved by the moment and maybe the impact of a song. Maybe there's a specific song they really like helped them through a hard time or they really connected with or helped them do this. Like all these things are legitimate and they're moved. They're so moved to do it because they can't help it. Yeah. Like that's when people are shouting in a football game. It's the same thing. Like we are really invested in our team and cheering on our team to victory. And when good things happen, we can't help but jump up and down and high five the person next to us and yell and like, you know, clap our hands and just be really excited because we are so excited.
See, clap your hands.
And so I just want to recognize one, that is natural outpouring, and two, what Jacob was talking about, that ultimately as people of God, like when we're looking at the Taylor Swift concert, that if that's a worship, then there obviously the distortion there is that they're worshiping Taylor Swift or they're worshiping the moment or they're worshiping something else that's not God. And so in the same way that when we worship God, I believe, and what Scripture points to is we're called to praise not only in spirit and in truth, not only with our hearts and our minds, but we're called to praise with our bodies as well. Like our bodies matter when we praise God. And so just as believers, I want to name that. And one book that's really been helpful for our church and our worship ministry over the past year with this is Holy Roar by Darren Whitehead and Chris Tomlin. They kind of co-write, and they look at the 7 Hebrew words for praise found in the Old Testament. And each one of those has a different meaning and a different way it looks at it. It talks about dancing and kneeling and bowing and singing with one of them's reckless, what's it called?
Abandon?
Reckless abandon. It's like something
love?
foolish. It's like being completely foolish in praise for God. And there's like these different extreme ways of praise that in English just gets translated to praise. And we're like, okay, praise, great. And in the Hebrew, in the original Hebrew, it's like all these different ways that we're called to actually praise, what that actually looks like. Another resource that's helpful, I've already mentioned it, is Bob Coughlin, Worship Matters. He writes that while heart worship is most important, what we do with our bodies isn't irrelevant or unimportant. Mm-hmm. It's not enough to say that I'm worshiping God in my heart and he knows it. and he uses this analogy. If I told my wife that I loved her, but I never looked glad to see her, never hugged her, and never demonstrated my affection in any concrete way,
Dude, you sleeping on the couch.
she wouldn't be too impressed. We wouldn't have much of a relationship.
Yeah.
And he uses other analogies throughout the book. One that stuck with me was he's like, he's talking about he has a granddaughter, and he's like, when my granddaughter runs at me with her arms open, I can't help but just reach down and embrace her and pick her up and hold her in my arms and love her. And he's like, that's right, a natural outpouring of an inward reality. And so I think as a church, one, we just need to be aware of that. And two, I think in our approach to those who don't know Jesus or who don't acknowledge him as Lord, maybe they're on the fringe. Think about what does our witness look like? One, not just in praise, but in general, right? It's the fruit. Like people will recognize us by our fruit, and our fruit is the actual physical living out, meeting physical needs, loving people, reaching out, feeding those who are hungry, right? Meeting with those who are in prison. Like Jesus lists a whole bunch of things like, hey, did you do it when I was, hungry? Did you feed me? When I was sick, did you help me? When I was in jail, did you come to visit me? Kind of like these different things. And when they're like, no, and he's like, all right, then, I don't know you. Yeah. And it's the actual, our bodies, what we do physically matters. And it's important. And I think this last thing I'll say is it's our testimony. It's part of our testimony. I think about when people come into a space of praise, like into a church for the first time maybe. What is more moving? What is more of a testimony to see people who are fully engaging with the Lord with their whole selves? And that looks different for everybody. I'm not prescribing a certain way that should look. What I'm saying is, what does it mean for you to go all in with your praise? Not just mentally and emotionally, but also physically. And then, or is it when people come in and people are kind of half-hearted or uninterested in their praise? Like, is that a testimony to God and your love for him? So it's just something to chew on as a believer. And again, in the same way, it's to see faith in action. That's our testimony. And people see it. Because only God can measure our hearts. And when we talk about thinking about what is our testimony to others, it's important. So all of that it matters. What we do with our bodies in worship and praise, it matters. So I'm getting off the soapbox here.
Can I add some spices on what you're cooking?
You can if you want. I mean, it was your dish to start with. So
So maybe worship is the fruit. And I think the hard part is because worship is now a genre of music that it's easy to think the worship is just singing.
Right.
Or just anything that happens on a Sunday morning.
Right.
But I think our church has been going through a renovation project, and it's being led by somebody who's volunteer. And now that we're reaching the end of it, you should see the pride on his face when he walks through the building that he built with his own hands. And I think even part of the building itself, even in the rough times, is worship for him. Because it's the giving back, it's the excitement, it's the standing, jumping up on the stands and giving the high five or smacking somebody next to you on the butt or something like that. I don't know. I don't do sports.
Yeah, we can tell with that last comment. So,
but okay, I don't know why this made me think of this because it's not actually what happened. But my wife and I went to Wendy's the other day, and we went to the drive-thru. We did the mobile order beforehand, and when we got to the window, they tried charging us for the person behind us because sometimes that can get confusing. And when we found out, we handed them the card and they were about to just charge it, we realized, wait, we've already paid for our order. Give me the card back. It was interesting because there was such a relief of well, you already have the card. This makes me excited. Maybe I could pay for the person behind me and make their day. Mm-hmm. That's also the fruit.
Yeah.
That's not singing. That's not jumping up and down. That's not doing the things that people would consider praise when it comes to music. But I think that's one of those things that counts as worship.
I'd like to say praise is always worship. Worship is not always praise.
Oof.
So the more that
that
I
is a
learn about this,
completely different episode that we need to talk about.
Praise is a better, praise director would probably be a better job title for me.
Be the praise pastor, the PP.
There you go.
P squared.
Anyways,
With
so
my wife.
again,
with my wife's pastor.
I redeem not the actual physical expression that was demonstrated, all of it within the Taylor Swift concert, but I redeem the fact that people are being moved so much that they can't help but engage in those ways. And there's a lot of like healthy ways of their expression of their inward feelings that I think is important for us to as believers to consider. Okay, how am I being moved in worship and in praise? And am I so moved that I can't help but express through my body what I am experiencing inwardly? And if we're not, then maybe we should ask some questions about why we're not being moved that way. So that's my.
It's a hot take.
Both Jake and I went off because obviously we're worship directors, pastors, and so we're really passionate about this stuff.
My title has pastor, so it's
and I feel like
yours.
we've probably talked for 10 minutes or more on this, and now
Now
it's time for Jordan to bring us home. Jordan's going to bring us home.
We've missed your voice.
He's going to tell us how we're wrong and correct us on the way that we should go.
I will say, on the point of worship, read. This is a really short read. It's kind of a dense read and it's kind of a hard read, but it's a really short and it's a really good read. Brother Lawrence, The Practice of the Presence of God. I think that's the right title. I'm going to actually confirm that
That sounds like a book that I've heard of. I just need to read.
Oh
Sounds
my word. This is a book that will... Okay, yeah, The Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. I would say that this not only has the potential to transform your worship of Christ, but I think it also has the potential to transform your communion with him.
That is a good difference.
I think it's really hard to worship someone that you're not around.
Ooh. I'm sorry. Say that again for them in the back.
I think it's hard to worship someone you're not around. Otherwise, you're bragging on them, right?
What?
like if I'm, if you're sitting here and you're talking about Priscilla, your wife, and you're talking about how awesome she is and how wonderful she is,
She is pretty cool.
you're bragging on her at that point. You're not worshiping her, or you're not like loving her in that way. That's a more direct thing, right? And I think what happens in from a congregant's perspective, I think what happens a lot of time in worship and like the Taylor Swift experience, that whole thing, right? What's happening with all of them, and they're so caught up because Taylor Swift is right there.
Yeah, she looks at a direction and that section of the arena just erupts in applause.
Yeah. And for congregants, I think sometimes, because I know this happens in my life, I don't think of it consciously, but I think subconsciously, I really don't believe that Jesus is like right there. And like I'm communing with him in that moment. It's hard to worship somebody who you don't think is there, who you don't believe is actually there. It's hard to worship if you're like not worshiping like Jesus. And I think that a lot of people get caught in that and get confused in that. So, and I think that's why both of you have a very important responsibility, because you're calling people to acknowledge the presence of God right there in that moment.
Yeah.
And that's why I bring up Practice of the Presence of God by Brother Lawrence. That is not my redeem, though.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I just
Go for it.
I've seen my job lately. Like I think the Holy Spirit's been working on me. The job is I think that he's been telling me that my job as a worship pastor has helped communicate what worship looks like both in and out of service. But I think sometimes worship is also like even if you're not sure if he's actually there, I think the importance is still worshiping together as a community. There's something different.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was just listening to Taylor Swift by myself, or even if this was I don't think this would ever happen for me. Like a one-to-one concert. Like if Taylor came into this room right now and played for us, it would not feel the same. In some aspects, it would be better.
Different kind of intimacy.
There's something different about being in a group of people all directing towards the same person, which is Jesus.
Because you can lean on each other's faith at that point.
Yes.
We don't talk about it a lot, but you can borrow somebody else's faith.
I mean, let's talk about the paralytic man that was lifted down the roof, who Jesus said the faith of your friends has saved you. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Bring us home, Jordan.
Bring us home, because we
Just
could
really-
talk about this all night.
Really short, really quick. My redeem, Taylor Swift reflects the image of her maker by creating beautiful art. I actually think that there are some people at any of Taylor Swift's concerts that could genuinely be worshiping Jesus and not Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Because they're not they see her and they see what she's creating, and there's all this goodness and beauty. And in those moments, they might have an encounter with Jesus and in his presence and his goodness and love and beauty, and recognize how beautiful he is, because they see how beautiful his creation is. Yeah. And they're able to see that and lean into that, especially believers who can see Taylor Swift and go to these concerts and and watch the movie and can see Jesus in the midst of all of that, right? You talked about how you were worshiping Jesus through the
tech transitions.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So I think that is just a really good thing to remember, that Taylor Swift is a human being created in the image of God. And when she does something that's great and wonderful and beautiful and awesome, and she's showcasing that talent and ability, that it is reflecting the image of her creator.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't remember what the term is. Bishop Mackey said it at my wedding. Shout out. I hope you're listening. Actually, you told me you were listening, so hey, Bishop.
He actually emailed us, by the way.
Sick.
So when you were dogging on people who were emailing, like, who emails anymore?
Oh, whoops.
Bishop Mackey.
You mean the guy that continues to be one of the strongest mentors in my life? Cool. No, but at my wedding, he made the point of saying it's like when a barbershop quartet sings a chord so perfectly in tune, there's that harmonic that just rings over it, that nobody's singing it, but you hear it anyways. It's kind of like that, yeah? Or just like, I just think of any time I've seen just, stepped out and on a cliff and seen the mountains around me, or sitting at the beach of the ocean. It's undeniable, the beauty of the creation of God. It's almost kind of like God can bring redemption through pop culture.
We should do a podcast about that.
Pop.
It'd be a great podcast to do. All right, y'all. Hey, thanks for listening to the pod today. If you actually went to the concert, if you got to go to a concert in a location,
Brag.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know something cool about actually being there that was unique to just seeing it in the theater or just partaking in that way. We'd really love to hear about that and share it with people on the show. That'd be great. Always do the verbs if you want. You don't have to, but hey, it'd be great if you did.
Comment, subscribe.
All those things, check out our YouTube
Rate.
channel, Pop Culture Redemption on
Share.
YouTube. Always contact the show. You can email us. We talked about Bishop Mackey emailed us in. You can, send us a message. Send us something. Email
Bishop, you're awesome. Love you.
admin@popcr.org. Fill out the polls today, Spotify polls. That'd be really helpful.
There's going to be several on this one.
There are going to be several. And I had one more thing, but I forgot. So must not have been that important. Anything that y'all want to mention before we sign off here?
Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Shout it from the mountains.
Give it all I got. Shout it from the roof.
Remember,
we did that last episode.
We're all counting on you.
Just wanted to let you know. Good luck. We're all counting on you. And remember that God is working in pop culture. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. Until next time. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Pop.